Okay. Yeah. Hi, Staša.
Hi, David.
Nice to have you here again. When was the last time you were at Bloc House?
I think the last time was last February, maybe, or March, when I joined the training camp with the German and Slovenian team here.
Your year must have been very intense. How did you endure it?
Yeah, it was a really difficult year. I didn't have the results I wanted to have, and this is always difficult because every year I feel stronger and in better shape and more prepared, but then the results are just so random sometimes, and it depends so much on the route setting these days. If it fits you, it fits you. If it doesn't fit you, well, what can you do about it? You can always try to be better or equally good in all styles, but it's really difficult to follow the trends and to be so well prepared that, yeah, this is why like the whole year, the results, not only mine, but from so many people, the results were so up and down all the time. I guess this makes the sport interesting in one way, but in one way it's way too unpredictable sometimes that it loses the point sometimes. But yeah, it was a long year. I had my goals. I almost achieved some. I still had a medal on the World Cup, and yeah, I was on the podium in the qualifiers. I knew it was going to be close to impossible to win, but actually I was way closer than I thought I would be. So I'm still okay with that. No.
Now you have like this last chance to qualify with the Olympic qualifier series. It's a bit difficult to find information about this competition and the mode. Are the athletes better informed about this?
Well, we know how it's going to look like. It's going to be almost the same as the qualifier events so far, the continental ones. The format is the same. It's combined, and the 10 spots are then given to the best 10 of the general ranking of the two. And then, of course, you have to see the quota, the country quota. You have 2 people per country. Like in the men Japanese category, they already have 2 spots. So now they cannot send anyone to the OQS. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to endure those 3 rounds, but we'll manage.
As with other new sports, there are not only positive voices regarding sport climbing at the Olympics. What is your attitude towards where competitive climbing is going right now?
It's hard to say. I think it's developing in a way that most sports do. And yeah, I mean, what is the point of sports? You can ask yourself. Is the point of sports to be a business and to live from entertaining people who love watching it? Or is the sports about just deciding who is the best? We athletes do it because we love competing, because we want to show that we are the best at that particular day. And it's also very entertaining for other people. So it's this balance, you know, which way you go. But most sports go more towards the entertainment part while still keeping the competitive part. And everyone has their own stance. I stand somewhere in between. I like that people love to watch climbing. And if we are at the Olympics, of course, it gives us so much exposure that our sport never had before. But then, of course, you have people who are like, yeah, but we don't need a lot of people to climb. We don't need gyms to be full. We don't need this or that. It changes how gyms are organized. This changes everything. Without the Olympics, our sport would not have progressed in terms of money present or earnings for athletes or the possibilities for athletes. Without that, I wouldn't be able to go to other continents to compete. No way, if we weren't an Olympic sport. So yeah, I don't think it's a necessarily bad idea. Of course, there are good and bad aspects, but I don't mind where it's going. I think it's quite okay so far. And I know that there's enough people who are trying to keep the initial core values of it as long as possible. And as long as there are such people, it's a good direction.
Where does this development deviate the most from what climbing means to you?
Yeah, it's also has something to do with the training areas. You know, the commercial gyms develop in a way that will suit the customers. And the customers are, yeah, not professional athletes. Most of them don't climb hard boulders. They go there to have fun. And of course, the gyms, in order to attract more customers, they're going to make a lot of easy boulders. And they're not going to invest in specific training facilities if most of their 95% of their customers are not climbing hard boulders or not interested in coming more than 2 times a week. Classic training equipment or types of equipment are being removed from commercial gyms, such as spray walls, for example, campus boards, fingerboards, because people don't need them and they just take up space that would be used for more boulders, for more customers. And this direction I don't like, because it is something that our sport is based on. This is how you train to get better at climbing. And I don't like that this is taking over so many gyms. And I really love the gyms, which one of them is also Bloc House, that still keep this traditional training in the gym while accommodating other customers. Also, yeah, I don't know, the streaming issues also. People complain, we want it free on YouTube, we want it for free. But look, without that, we have no place at the Olympics. If we're not on TV, why would we be an Olympic sport if nobody knows what it is? You know, and the subscription is so negligibly small, and there are ways around it that people have found, which I have nothing against. But you can't keep demanding it for it to be completely free if you want this sport to go somewhere. I'm not against that Eurosport took over. I think it's a really good thing, because I know so many people who told me, I saw you on TV. It's like, I watch climbing, I like it, now I follow it. And this happens a lot. And people think, no, who watches this? This is boring. No, there are people who watch. And it's going surprisingly well, actually. And I like it. And I think it's a good thing for us. But yeah, you can go on and on. But I still think, even with all the development, there's still not enough money in climbing. But yeah, we'll see how it develops after this Olympics, for the next Olympics, and so on. It's a long process. The changes don't happen so fast. It's a slow thing. So we'll see.
What are the challenges for you right now, trying to make a living with climbing?
It's hard to have a good overview of the income and costs, because it comes from so many little bits and it's so inconsistent mostly that it's hard to know like how you're standing. So my challenge is like really to have a good overview and the balance, and to know, well, how much I need to earn and what are my costs. And like since recently I try to keep like an Excel sheet to try to balance it all out. But really, like, my biggest basis is my support from my home country, from the Ministry of Sports in Serbia, and from the Olympic Committee of Serbia, and of course my national federation. We have prize money on competitions, but it's also something to build an emergency fund, for example. Now I need to change my brakes in the car, and I have the technical examination of my car, and I need to pay rent, and this bill got really high this month, and it's like taking bits and pieces and then trying to stick all the holes on with the sticker. But in the end of the day, it's good. It's like, I'm not poor. I don't have to stress how much I have to work, that I have to book setting or this or that work, or if I don't win a comp, that it's a misery now. It's not that bad. Sometimes it feels like it. Sometimes it's like, but I didn't win this or this. Now it will be hard. So you're never, as safe as a lot of professional athletes are. Like, there's so many sports where people are just, it's a luxury then to be an athlete. In climbing, we're not there yet, but I think it's improving. But in my opinion, the brands and the sponsors need to step up their game. It's really lame, really. Like, we should be earning way more. Like, not even only athletes, like coaches and route setters, judges in the federation. Everyone's paid so little for the work they do. Nobody really knows what's the core problem and where is this major leak or major lack of money that keeps everyone at their toes, and like, we need more, but we can't give you more. Also, prize money for athletes. I mean, there's a fund of, I think, 10,000 for the finalists only, for the first 8th place. So if you win a World Cup, you get around 2.5 grand. What do you do with that? So you have to keep winning every comp, but how can you win every comp? It's a World Cup. You should be earning tens, hundreds of thousands per comp and not 2.5. But that falls on the organizer because this is the policy. So organizer already pays an enormous amount of money for the whole event to happen. And then they need to give it to the athletes as well. So it's like we're putting more burden on the organizer. And it goes over and over again. But I think it has improved. At least, like, I know from my own perspective, brands have started to value the reputation of athletes a bit more, regardless of results. It's gotten better. A lot of people got more better sponsorships. But yeah, it takes time, unfortunately.
So you completed your master's degree this year. So you already have a plan, obviously, for your life after professional sports.
I mean, I don't have a concrete plan. I do have something else besides climbing to do. Yeah, that's a big point. And this is always something that I was taught to do. Like my parents always said, sure, we're doing climbing and this is our life, but you need to study. You need to have this. It's not always so healthy to just be in one thing. And yeah, with sports, you know, you retire very early compared to other professions. Yeah. And then what can you do? You can stay in the sport and then coach. You can route set. You can have your own gym. You can, I don't know, shape holds. And it's very limited. And it keeps you in the community, which I don't think is bad. But yeah, there's not that much money in the sports. So if you want to have a secure life, you really need to do a lot of things. And I'm glad that I studied. I'm glad that I developed something else besides it, that if anything goes wrong with climbing, if, I don't know, you get injured and then you can't go back to the sports, like what do? You know, you're kind of miserable then and limited. So I like to have a backup at all times. And I like engineering. I like, technology. So it's something that I would still like to do in my life. So yeah, we'll see. I don't have a plan yet. I'll do this thing as long as I can compete, and as long as my brain can keep up with the stress and the ups and downs and so on. My biggest goal is really to get to this Olympics, and then we'll see.
What are your personal wishes for for climbing in the future?
My only wish is that it doesn't go too far into the entertainment. I don't want our sport to be ruined by money. Well, if there were any of it. I don't want our old core values to vanish. Maybe I'm a bit old school. I don't know. Sometimes I am, but not too much. I don't want it to become a different sport than what it is now. And I wish for more fairness in terms of route setting, in terms of organization, in terms of this name reputation. You know, a lot of people don't get a chance to even work at the IFSC event because they don't know someone who is in there, and they have qualities that will be needed at these events. And this needs to change. And this is my biggest hope, that less things are done on name base and more things are done respectfully and fairly and with equal opportunity for people.
So last question. What do the next weeks and months look like for you?
Yeah, the next weeks and months will be spent in training, mostly on spray walls, a lot of training and fitness. And preparations for the main goal of the season, to qualify for Olympic Games.
You said you were coming in end of February?
Yes, I will be here in the end of February. Another training camp with the German team. I'll be here, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, hope to see you then.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.